Hello everyone, Liquor CEO Charles Vaughn here with you, another episode of Liquor CEO TV. Today we're going to give you a brief introduction into the three-tiered system of alcohol in the United States. But first, a little housekeeping. I certainly hope these videos are valuable to you and are giving you a little insight into the industry and your project. If so, I'd really appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit the little bell for notifications for any future chapters that I'm going to publish. I do have a few more in mind that I'd like to get out there over the holiday season here. So happy holidays, by the way. Let's just dig right into it right now. So in the United States, at a federal level, there are federal and state implications to liquor. We're going to talk about the federal first, and then we'll explore the state side in a moment. At the federal level, there are three tiers, Tier 1, 2, and 3. Tier 1 is basically the supplier side. It's your distilleries or your importers. So if you're a distillery, a winery, or a brewery, you need the appropriate permit at the federal level to be such. And if you're an importer, you're going to need a basic import permit. Tier 2 is the wholesaler distributor level. Again, there's a federal license for that as well, so you'll need to worry about that. And Tier 3 is the retailer account, whether you're a store, a bar, restaurant, club, any place that provides alcohol out to the consuming public, that's the Tier 3 retailer. Tier 1 only sells to Tier 2. Tier 2 only sells to Tier 3. You can't jump levels or do anything like that. I say that to say that there are certain implications for selling wine online, liquor online, beer online, things like that. So a lot of times I get asked questions, well, can I sell my product on the internet? Yes, no, and maybe, but still we have to work within the three-tiered system of liquor in the United States. So let's talk about Tier 1 for a moment. The governing body in the United States is the Department of Treasury's Trade and Tax Bureau, TTB, often referred to. www.ttb.gov. Lots of information there about the applications and the permits. That's where it all starts, applying for the federal permit. We talked previously about entities and the importance of selecting the right entity for your tax considerations and your legal liabilities considerations. That plays part of the game when applying for the federal permits. You're obviously going to want to apply for them in your entity name if you plan on doing business as a legal entity. However, a part of that application process is going to be filling out the personal questionnaire, which is going to ask you certain questions about you. You need to be properly vetted, background, tax, all of that good stuff, since Department of Treasury does it. And also, you're going to need to you're going to need to identify all the sources of funds. So if anybody is lending you money, or if you're using a bank for the money, or if you're using credit cards for the money, you're going to have to disclose that. So anybody that's remotely tied that could have a material stake or equity in that business, they're going to need to be a part of your personal questionnaire portion of the show and be properly vetted as well. So let's just assume we fast forward and we go ahead and we get all of our permits done. And now you have a federal permit for whatever it is, and you start to create a product. We talked a little bit before about branding names versus entity names. Let's work on the brand name for a moment. You have a brand name. Now that translates into a look, a logo, and it's going to turn into a bottle. And you're going to have this bottle has a label, or it's going to be decorated. It's going to have certain components on it. What you're working towards at a federal level now is obtaining what they call a certificate of label approval, a COLA. Basically, the finished bottle is going to have all the necessary legal requirements to be a legally compliant label. Part of that could be, depending on your product, could be obtaining a formulation approval. If you're a straight vodka, a straight gin, or you're a straight whiskey or something like that, a tequila, you don't need to necessarily get formulation. You'll need to get formulation approval when you start to get into more specialty products or products with unique ingredients or flavors. They may require a formulation, which is a form of 5100.51, I believe, that dictates all the ingredients and the method of manufacture. If it's deemed that that product has certain ingredients that may require a little bit further analysis, they'll require a sample to be sent as well. So, formulation paves the way for a certificate of label approval, which paves the way for you to then become commercially viable. Once you have that, now you open up all the state level issues, where how do I sell my product that I have a COLA on to a state, a distributor in a state? Well, each state has its own set of rules. Some states may require you just to register the brand and tell me who you're selling it to. Other states may require you to get an out-of-state supplier's permit. Other states may require you to actually have an actual license to do certain things. Again, it's on a state-by-state basis. Way too much to go into right now, but it's on a state-by-state basis. But it's important to know that no matter what it is, it will always start with the federal permit first, or at least the COLA. So if a state like Florida, which only requires you to register the brand, it's basically just having a certificate of label approval at the federal level already there, so that you can then do your thing there. One other thing is, if you are planning on being a brand owner or an importer, and you want to actually have or own a brand that's imported, you're going to want to house some of it in the United States for you to manage and start to sell out to various wholesalers, distributors around the United States. You will probably need an importer's permit or a wholesaler's permit in your state. That's a little bit more of a properly vetted type of, at the state level, type of license, but you will need to be required to have a premise. You'll have to have a layout of it. They may come out and inspect it depending on what you're going to do, but that is what's going to legally be required to actually house liquor in the United States in a state. So federal level does not permit you to have it in a state per se. The state permits what's actually going to allow you to have your hands on it in a state. So be mindful of that. So there's a very heavy compliance, and there's a very, very heavy regulatory burden and obstacle that is crossed when getting into this business. Hope this answers a little bit of your questions introductory about the three-tiered system and the federal and state licensure issues, formulation, and COLAs. 40-80spirits.com. If you have any other questions, you can contact us there. You can hit me up with an email, liquor.ceo@gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions. As always, you can leave comments below. I'd be more than happy to reach out to you directly or to respond to them here. If you have any suggestions for any additional topics you'd like to know more about, comment, email me, send it through the website. I'll be sure to get to it soon. Anyway, happy holidays again. Bottoms up. Cheers. Have a great time, guys.